we gotta start dating like men. And I know you're probably thinking, Gabby, what are you talking about? Have a seat. This is going to get good. We are talking today all about your mindset in dating. Men will have the perfect girl in front of them, but if they're not ready for her, he's just going to be like, well, moving on to the next thing, whatever, until he's ready to settle down, because he knows when he is ready, someone is going to be readily available to him. Whereas women, I feel like we get into these situations where we meet a guy, we have a great connection, and we're like, he has to be the one. This is it. I'm attached now. I can't get over him. I'm thinking about him night and day. I have to have this man. If we were to think about it, the only reason you're really attached to this guy is because you fear that there's no one else out there that's just like him, that has the same qualities that you're attracted to about him, that has the same aesthetic, the same vibe, the same looks, the same whatever as him. If you are so hung up on one person, you are dating with a scarcity mindset. And I get that you're probably like, Gabby, and I know what a lot of you are probably thinking, Gabby, it's so much easier for men because there's so many better women out here than there are men. And trust me, I get it. We are in a weird society right now. But I can tell you from my own personal experience that the more shitty I believe the dating scene was, and sometimes I'll creep into this occasionally where I'm like, ugh, fuck this. And you know what I keep attracting when I get into those loops, or in the past when it was continuously happening to me, was fuckboys, breadcrumbers, narcissists. I was attracting all of the shit men, okay? Because my mind was in a shit place. I was thinking, there's no quality men out there. But the second that I switched that mindset, the entire dating scene for me completely opened up. I'm here in London, and talking about my dating experiences here and like how great everyone's been and how like well I'm treated and how much I feel like a queen here. Every girl that I've met that has lived here is like, oh no, they're all trash. Like, I don't know where you're finding these people. It's like, honestly, I think I'm just attracting these men that are really great because my mindset is in a good place. And like, I believe that they're out there, and I'm opening up myself up to actually good, high quality people. So I don't want to point any fingers here because I've been there, but if the only people that you attract into your life are fuckboys, narcissists, one bad relationship after the next, it probably has a lot more to do about where your mindset is at than the actual dating pool. Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. So if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. You guys, it all starts from within. I kind of got into this already, but if your mindset is off, book a discovery call with me. We go over all of these things, getting more confident, becoming the best you in order to attract the best out there. Anyways, guys, I don't really have much to report back on. I'm in London. I'm loving it. I'm meeting new people, a lot of new people. And yeah, people are great here. It's so different coming from Miami. By the way, if you're watching this in the US and you're in like Miami or in LA, or really maybe any major city, but I think specifically Miami or LA, my suggestion to you, when I was living in Miami, coming here, I feel like has opened my eyes up. And I think that's maybe just like, even if I were to move to like a small town or something like that, the energy is so different. Like, I feel much more appreciated here. I can't tell you how many times I have been stopped on the streets like, oh my God, you're glowing. I really just feel like, one, I'm in such a different energy here. And then I also feel like I feel much more appreciated because of that. And like, I don't know about you, but if you're living in like any major city in the US and like you're really having a hard time and like guys really just aren't appreciating you, I don't know. I think in Miami it's just so hard because there are fucking gorgeous women everywhere. You can walk down the street and you're gonna see a 10 out of 10 and another 10 out of 10. You get much more appreciation when you go like outside of those places. Just saying, just a suggestion. Get out of your place if you're not feeling like you're having any luck, or you're feeling frustrated, or you feel like you're hitting your head against the wall. Leave where you're at and see the changes, because I honestly just feel so much better, so much different here. I never want to leave. Enough about me. let's get into you. Okay, so I want you to think, if you're on TikTok and you understand this, and even if you're not on TikTok, but I want you to think about the TikTok algorithm, because the more you go on your For You page and you're sliding through videos and you're like, this stuff doesn't interest me, but you keep on watching the videos, those videos are going to keep popping up on your page. That is the TikTok algorithm. The more you engage with it, the more it'll come up on your page. The same thing is with life. The more that you say, not interested, pass, done, you are directly telling the universe, and this is in correlation to your real life, the more that you're saying, trash man, next, I'm not doing this, not dealing with this, next, not entertaining that, the more life is going to give you things that are actually aligned with you. And the same with the TikTok algorithm. The more that you say, not interested, or you just pass and you don't watch very much of it, it's going to start giving you other videos to watch. And the more you entertain the ones that are actually right for you, the more those videos are actually going to show up on your page. The same thing with life. We have so many options out there. There are thousands and millions, billions of TikTok videos online, but the ones that are reaching you are the ones specific to you. In real life, we have so many options, and I think we need to realize that. And not to the point where you get into situations and you're like, I'm bored, or I think I could just do better, whatever. And then you pass it up to the next one. It's like, eventually you got to decide what you're looking for and what you're willing to compromise on if you're really looking to get into a relationship. But I think sometimes too many options is a little bit blinding. But here's the thing, the point that I'm trying to get across. If you keep entertaining the trash, it will keep coming into your life. Whereas if you're like, I'm not entertaining this, you're directly telling the universe that you deserve better than this shit. I think the more that you're willing to stay with someone who you know is not right for you, your gut is absolutely screaming at you for, your body is telling you that this is not it, you still continue to stay with this person because you're comfortable, you don't think you're going to find any better, you are scared of what's on the other side of this, you're scared of what you can't see. I think the more that you start trusting in what you can't see and walking towards and believing with absolute faith that something better is available and ready to you, then that's when you start getting what you want. A lot of times with a scarcity mindset, we do have these thoughts about ourselves usually. And I think once I started healing this abandonment wound, it really started becoming very clear because different people started showing up in my life. The more you think, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love, I don't believe that it's out there for me, no one is ever gonna love me, the more you have those thoughts about yourself, the more you're going to attract people that don't love you, that don't see your worth, that don't see your value, kind of just treat you like shit because you're not really treating yourself the best either. It does come down to where you're at mentally. If you don't think you're worthy of love, the people that want to love you, you're going to push away. We have an internal thermostat, and I've heard this somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I've heard it from a few people, but we have an internal thermostat that we set at. And once we exceed that thermostat, we get uncomfortable and we have to get back to that thermostat level that we feel comfortable at. If you are dating around and you meet someone that you really like and they really like you the first couple of maybe weeks or so, and then you're like, oh my God, wait, they actually really like me too much. Now I have to self-sabotage because it doesn't feel comfortable for someone to like me. So I will push them away as much as possible, subconsciously, to get back down to that comfort level of where you're at internally. If it drops down too low, hitting rock bottom, essentially, where you're in a relationship and it just is not working out, eventually you're going to end up saying enough is enough and then rising slowly back up to where you think you're safe at. I mean, it can go either way, but usually we reach a limit and we're like, this doesn't feel comfortable. Let's bring ourselves back down to where we do feel comfortable at. But the more that you're able to raise that thermostat to where you're attracting the best because you feel the best, that's when the right people are going to start stepping into your life. And I really do believe this because I have seen it firsthand. I genuinely used to attract the biggest fuckboys, and then the second that I would meet one or two nice guys here and there that would potentially be a really good fit, I would do everything in my power to be like, oh, they did this little thing wrong, let me complain about it or act up or act crazy so they walk away, or I would walk away myself and ghost them. And that's why you can't take anything personally, because you really don't know where anyone is at in their healing journey. But I think the first and foremost is getting to the core of like, you don't feel worthy, you don't feel good about yourself. We have to figure that out first in order to attract better, because that is where your scarcity mindset usually stems from. So notice the thoughts that you feel about yourself. The more that you work on yourself, your self-love, your confidence, whatever, I promise you that bar is going to rise slowly, slowly, slowly until you actually want and will attract a healthy love that feels good. Because I promise you that shift between like fuckboy after situationship after blah blah blah, they don't treat me right, they're terrible, moving to like men that literally being here, men have rented cars to take me from point A to point B. Men have gone an hour out of their way on the train just to hang out with me for 1 hour on my lunch break and bring me flowers and take me out to eat. My bar is like pretty high right now. But I promise you, these guys are out there. They exist and they do want commitment. It's just, you have to be in the right place, in the right headspace in order to attract that and in order to also keep it. But the more that you stop thinking eventually over time, does this person like me? And I think that that's a lot of where the scarcity mindset comes from, because in your head, you want that validation from externally instead of it coming from internally, because the more that you are able to internally feel that way, feeling self-love, the more you start thinking, do I even like this person? Because if I don't like this person, I'm not even entertaining this. Whereas I think in a scarcity mindset, you're like, he checks a couple of boxes. We may or may not have a good connection, but I really like him because he checks all my boxes. So I'm going to cling on to him, even though I know deep down I don't even really like him. We have to start thinking for ourselves first of, do I even like this person? Does this person even benefit my life? What are they doing for me? Because I think more often than not, when you are trying to win validation, you don't feel like you're worthy of love. We tend to want people's approval. We tend to want people to like us instead of us even liking them. We don't even consider our own needs. Making that mindset shift and really think about the guys that you are entertaining, even though they do check a couple boxes, because I can promise you're probably gonna not end up with a person who ticks all of the boxes. You're probably gonna end up with someone who doesn't tick your physical boxes, but also you're like, this feels different, it feels good, it feels nice. I think another place where this comes from is, obviously, I kind of mentioned this before, but the fear of abandonment. Is this person going to leave me? And then you get scared and you try to cling on even more to this person, even though you know that it's not right for you. I think the more that we think that there's nothing else out there, we cling on to what's in front of us, or we'll go back to what's comfortable to us. You don't miss that person, by the way, from the past. The only thing you miss about that person is a little bit of comfort, a little bit less loneliness. Whereas honestly, if we're being real with ourselves, if we're being fucking for real, that loneliness that you felt in the past, this person was probably more of a lonely feeling than you being by yourself. So it's probably not that you miss this person and you want to like reach out. It's the fact that you just miss someone being there. You miss the companionship, and that's fine. But like, realize that that's what that is. It's not the person. Okay. Usually it's not the person, but it is that feeling of having someone there. And don't go back just because you're fucking lonely. You deserve so much better, because when you do go back to things that are not meant for you, things that you actually want don't show up in your life. The more you're entertaining what's not meant for you, what is meant for you will not show up. Believe that there are some other things out there for you that are so much better of a fit. And if you don't believe that there are people out there that are better of a fit, that do want the same things as you, that are good for you, they're not going to show up in your life because you don't believe that they're there. So it all starts in believing what's not physically right in front of you. I think this is especially true too when you don't feel connections very often. I feel like most people realistically don't feel a lot of like very close connections often. So when they do find it, it's like, oh my God, well, this has to be it, because I don't find them very often. Personally, I'm going to be fucking for real for a second. I love saying that. Personally, I have so many connections with different people. And I think that's what's really opened my mind up, because I'm like, I'm going to feel this again. There's connections out there. I can feel connections with a lot of people, but I also believe that it's out there because I've seen it. They're out there. But the more that you don't believe that they're out there, it's not going to show up for you. Another thing that I like to say, by the way, in these situations, and I think I'm incorporating this even more so now because Megan Fox, I'm like, this kind of just, I think I might have said this on a previous podcast, but where Megan Fox, first of all, I love this girl. I really do. If you listen to her speak, she's very intelligent. She's also very pretty and like, she's really funny. On the Call Her Daddy podcast, she's like, okay, I definitely spoke about this on a different podcast, but Alex is asking her about what would you do if like you want to go up to a guy in person or something like that. And she's like, it's literally just a guy. He's just a guy. Literally, he's just a guy. That is, I don't know why that clicked so much for me in that video, but I was like, oh my God, he's literally just a guy. There's no guy out there that has this magical dick or that like is so much different than the next fucking guy. They're all very similar. So if this guy has something that I really like, that I'm really into, there are so many men out there that have the same thing, that are so much better, that want the same things as you. There's other people out there, and we have to believe that there are other people out there, and it's all about manifesting, okay? I've been telling myself, if I start to get in this situation where, and I'm gonna be honest, like this does happen still, but where I start to like a guy a little too much, and I'm like, Gabby, that's cute. He's just a guy. Like he's literally has, what is he really doing for you? Honestly, what is he really doing for you that's so different, that's so magical, whatever? He's just a guy. Take a step back, take him off the pedestal and just humanize him. Decenter him from your life. And the more that you do that, you're like, oh yeah, okay. You have to take yourself out of the situation and look at it objectively. These are the facts of what's going on. I think sometimes we think a little bit too much with our emotions, but this is the facts of what's going on. He's not really showing me all that much. He's kind of ghosting me a little bit. He is going days without talking to me and it's okay, and then coming back like it's fucking nothing. You know, whatever the case is. I'm just making stuff up. But is he really worth all of the feelings and emotions that are going into him? 9 times out of 10, probably not. Okay, unless you meet like your absolute husband that's gonna treat you like a fucking queen that you are. Usually they're just a guy. But I think what I've noticed too, genuinely, is when I started getting myself out of this like abandonment wounds, the attachments to people, and being able to detach and like really feeling the self-love, I think I started getting to a place, even like, I mean, it's a continuous process. I'm not saying that I woke up one day and everything was healed and I felt fine. That's not the case, because I do think it's a continuing process. Every single day you're choosing to get better. Here's the thing. Give yourself a little grace. It's not going to happen overnight. Your scarcity mindset's not even just around dating. Usually it's in a lot of areas of your life. So if you have this mindset in dating, it usually is applicable in other areas, like your finances, like your friendships that you have, how you think about life. Are you hoarding things because you are scared you're never going to find them again? Are you hoarding friendships that don't really work for you because you're scared of being lonely, or scared that you're never going to find an actual good friend out there? Are you hoarding your money, or are you spending it like crazy because you don't believe that you're worthy of having money? And I think that even my finances have significantly gotten better the more that I've healed these wounds. So if you feel like you can benefit from coaching, we go through all of this and like how to get there in like more intense detail, kind of just scratching the surface in this episode. But if you're curious about coaching, please, again, hit the stand link in my bio. I would absolutely love to work together. Super passionate about helping people through this. Like, I genuinely know that it's possible because I have pulled myself out of a really shit place. Okay, so I want you to be able to live your best life, and in order to do that, you have to feel good from within. So that is it for this week's episode. If you could, please leave that 5-star rating if you're watching this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave that thumbs up if you are watching this on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your bell notification so you'll never miss another episode, and I will see you all next Tuesday. I hope this episode helped.